Let's minimize to the system tray. Alright, so to start things off, I just have a random scene over there. That's open, doesn't really matter as long as you have some kind of scene so that you can just run the project so you can test it with. We'll be fine. In the beginning here, we're going to be creating ourselves a status indicator. I did a video on how to create those about 6 months ago. So that's what we're going to start with. And the status indicator is the tray icon. So if we were to go down to our icon down here, I'll do Windows Plus, get a big size, right? So it's all these that we see down here. In my case, NVIDIA, Discord, Wallpaper Engine, Steam, OBS, and all that fun stuff, right? So we're going to create an icon down here to start with. And when we got that going, I'll show you how we can create it so that our project ignores, I guess you could say, the taskbar or disappears from it. Because as you can see down here at the bottom, we have it, right? We have this icon down here. If we were to minimize it, it's still down here, right? It hasn't disappeared. It still has a little dot there showing me that the program is open. And we don't want that. Obviously, if you minimize to the system tray, we shouldn't see anything in the taskbar. So that would be what we do after we create that icon. All right, so in order to create ourselves our status indicator, we're going to go ahead. I'm just going to call mine SI because just call it status indicator equals status indicator dot new. And I should mention this script that I'm writing on. In my case, I just went ahead and made it a global. That way, whatever program I run, I don't have to worry about adding it to the scene or anything weird like that. It's just put it in the global, the auto load, and it just works. Right? You just have your icon in that right from the get-go. But we're going to go ahead and create a status indicator. We're going to set the icon, so si.icon equals load, and we'll just pass in the Godot icon here. No reason for us not to use it. We can add a tooltip, so si.tooltip equals a string. We'll say this is my Godot application. And then all we have to do is add our status indicator, right? So add child si. Now, of course, this isn't adding it to our quote-unquote scene. It's going to be adding us into the root, well, the root node of this. So if I were to run this, make it a little clear, if I go to remote, you can see I have my global here, but I just called it system tray, and that has a child here of the status indicator. Right. Also, if I just run that one more time, if I open this up, you can see I'll use Win Plus here. You can see we already, there's the tooltip, but we already have our tray icon existing. Now it doesn't do anything. If I left click it, nothing happens. If I right click it, nothing happens. Right. So it's here. It's just not functional. It just merely exists. So we needed to have some kind of functionality. Now for this, you're going to go ahead and need to create your menu. Again, you can refer back to the original video on creating a status indicator or tray icon. But I'll run through real quick. We're going to create a pop-up menu. Add that menu as a child, add items, show window, and settings. I'm setting their default number, so show window is going to be index 1, settings index 2. Quit will be index 3, and I put a separator between settings and quit. And then now setting the menu, so status indicator.menu is equal to menu.getPath. All right. And then I am connecting a signal ID pressed from our menu to a function that's going to be called onMenuItemPressed. And to prevent the application from closing, I'm just setting getTree.setAutoExceptQuit false. And what that line does with it being set to false is we can keep clicking this close window, but nothing's going to happen. So we're basically making the close button no longer work so that we can add our own functionality to that. All right. And we'll get to that in a moment, but for now, we'll go ahead and we'll add this function in on menu item press. So on menu item press, that has an argument of an ID. If you want to pass or you want to type it, that's of course an int. I'm just going to match the ID. So with 1, we're going to be showing it. 2, this would be settings, but of course I won't have anything for this example. And 3, we're just going to get tree.quit. Right. So for now, if we go ahead and run that and we take a look, we can see close button does nothing. But if we go down to our tray icon, right click, we now have this menu that pops up, and I'm going to hit the quit button, and our game quits, or application, GUI, whatever, quits for us. All right. So how do we actually get the minimizing part to happen for us? Well, we're going to get the window. We're going to get the close requested signal, and we're going to connect it. I'm going to connect it to a lambda function. Go. Just tap that out. And if I hit pass there, I should get rid of our error. Okay, so I'm just going to get our main window, the close requested. So we're going to stop it from closing, and we're going to respond to the signal. So adding our own functionality to that close button. We're going to connect a function. If you want to make this a separate function you call, you can. And all we have to do here is do 2 lines. We're going to start from the display server dot window set flag. And the ones we're going to set the flag no focus, set that to true, and we're going to go back to that display server window set. Oops, here we go. Window set flag, and we're going to get window mode. We want mode. Oh, not flag. Sorry. Window set mode. And we're looking for display server dot window underscore mode minimize. Now, if you want to be specific, if you have multiple windows, you can add in 0 to both of these arguments, set flag and set mode. And 0 is going to be your main window, but since I only have the one window, I'm just going to leave it like that. And you'll notice now that if I run this, I hit the close button, it disappears. We cannot see it. And more importantly, take a look. That is the magnifier. But you can look down here. There is no more Godot icon. If you noticed it, it disappeared. It's no longer in the taskbar. So the only way for me to now get that back is to go into my status icon, my status indicator, my tray icon, right click it, and show window to get it back. And as you see, this works. The Godot icon and window is down here. If I go to close it again, completely disappears from my taskbar. Now, the question is, how do we make it show up like that? Because yours isn't going to show up like that yet. And that's what we're going to do here. So when we match ID 1, which remember if we go up, is my show window item, we're just going to flip those. So we're going to set the display server window set flag, display server.window flag no focus, set it to false, and then display server.window set mode, and set that to display server.window mode windowed. That's it. And if you want to keep track of that window mode, just so if you had, I don't know, if you had a maximized version, you could do that. Or your full screen. I don't know, full screen seems kind of weird. But if you have windowed or maximized, you can keep track of that if you wanted to reset that when you open it. But just by setting those 2 flags, when we match ID and when we try to close, those 2 simple things is going to allow us to hit close, disappear from the task menu, or disappear from the taskbar completely, and then we can hit show and it pops right back up. And of course, again, quit still works, get tree.quit. Now, if we were to come in and hit the minimize button, it's still just going to go down to the taskbar. All right, now if you wanted to set it for that minimize to work, because again, if I run that, I hit minimize, it goes down to the bottom here into the system tray. If you wanted that to, sorry, into the taskbar rather than the system tray. So if you want that to work, then we have to go about this slightly differently. So instead of going with close requested signal on the window, right, I'm just going to go ahead and comment that out. We're going to keep the auto accept quit as false. And what we're going to do instead is I'm going to go ahead and get the display server dot window underscore set underscore window underscore event underscore callback. I know that is very long. And as an argument, we're going to pass in a function name. In my case, it's going to be underscore on underscore window underscore event. And this is where we can handle both the minimize and the close. So if you want both of them to happen, or both of them to minimize to the tray, that's where we can set that. But if you only want minimize, then you can do it here, and you can just leave this, the auto accept as true. That way you can still close it normally. All right, let's go ahead and create this function for us. All right, so func on window event, pass in an event as an argument. And we're going to have to do an if check here. All right, so we're going to say if event is equal to display. So, okay, I said fee instead of if. If event equals display server dot window event focus out. Yes, I just want to make sure that there was nothing else for us to use. But as you can see from here, we don't have a whole lot of options, so we have to use focus out. So focus out is basically anytime that we tab out. So if we alt tab or we click into another application, this is the event or the notification that fires off. So at this point, if we've lost focus, we might be minimized, but we might not be. So to prevent it from automatically disappearing just because we clicked into our browser or because we clicked on Discord or whatever, we need to do a check here. So let's get the mode, var mode, and this is just going to be the display server dot window get mode, window get mode. We could pass an ID 0. Again, that should be default anyway. But now that we have the mode, we can do a check. So we can say if mode is equal to display server dot window mode minimized. Okay, so we've checked if we've lost focus, and now if we're minimized, right? So if we've lost focus and we're minimized, then hide the window, right? And this is what we've already done, right? So the same thing that we're doing, we're setting the flag and we're setting the mode. So no focus and window mode minimized, right? And that window mode minimized, this one probably redundant considering we're checking if it's already minimized, so it should be minimized already. So we're just going to remove it from the taskbar with the set flag no focus. All right, so if we were to run this now, if we minimize it, we can see disappears from the taskbar, but it's still here for us to show. All right, and as you see, I just went to close it by instant, then that close doesn't work because we haven't handled that yet. Also, if you want to be a little nitpicky, remove everything that you can, you could remove this first if statement, comparing the event if you really wanted to, but it's not really necessary to get rid of it. It just kind of stands as that extra guard, that extra protection. But if you don't like it, you can completely get rid of that line. So let's handle the closed section. All right, so this will be elif event equals display server dot window event close request. So this is what we're going to do when we close it, when we hit the close button. So again, we're just going to get the minimize line. Let's go ahead and grab that. I am clicking everywhere except for where I should be. All right, so let's set the minimized for us here. So if we run that, hit close, we disappear from taskbar. And we have to come down, we have to hit show window, it appears. If we hit the minimize button, we disappear. Right, it's not there. We have to go back into our icon, open that up, and if we hit maximize, that still functions just as normal. Right, so now our close button and our minimize button both give that appearance that we've minimized to the system tray down here. Our system tray, of which we have to go here, right click and show window, or we can just completely close the program from. All right, so there you go. There's how we can minimize directly to the system tray with that, with this neat little trick. And that's all thanks to this window flag here, no focus. Because if we click into it, we take a look, we can see this window can't be focused. No focus window will ignore all inputs except mouse click. Yes. So although that no focus doesn't really look like it does anything for us here, window can't be focused, no focus window will ignore all input except mouse clicks. Like that doesn't sound useful, but you'll see if we go to but you'll see if we go here where I've gone ahead and I've removed on close request, we're just going to be setting the no focus flag here for this example. And you'll see if I hit the close, we can see it disappears down here at the bottom from my taskbar. But this is just still sitting up here. And technically, right, we can click through it because it's not taking any focus for us. But we can right click and we can see it's still there. And if we hit show window, then it pops back up and it's rendered and everything that we can see. And I just hit that out of habit. You can see if I hit minimize, it completely disappears. Right? So even though this no focus flag seems to be, doesn't really tell us that it hides it from the taskbar, but evidently it does. It completely hides it from for us. So all we have to do is just on close request set it to minimize, and of course when it minimizes, that'll give us a focus out, which comes back in, checks, well, window is minimized, and that'll set the flag for us. So the close is kind of working with the minimize in this case. That's why we don't have to have both lines on the close request, and why we also don't need that line in there. There we go. So now we can actually have our programs fully minimized down into the system tray. And I can already feel I'm already going to start rambling. I've probably already rambled in circles. But all right, take care and I'll see you guys next week.